Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. Jonathan Kuminga is beloved by Warriors fans and is being sought after by other NBA teams, and Kuminga has already expressed a desire to leave. But a turnaround could happen, and Kuminga could re-sign with the Warriors and attempt to develop his game and become a major star. Jonathan Kuminga might actually be back with the Golden State Warriors for next season. Kuminga is a restricted free agent since the Warriors extended him a qualifying offer. Going back to May, when the Warriors were eliminated from the playoffs by the Timberwolves, some Golden State star players did not express confidence in Kuminga returning to the team. However, things may have changed. Clutch Point's Brett Siegel reported in a column over the weekend that Kuminga returning to the Warriors seems likely. A market for him in a sign-and-trade deal did not really materialize. That's why the expectation reportedly is that Kuminga will return to the team for 2025 to 2026 and then be traded ahead of the February deadline. Kuminga was the number 7 overall pick by the Warriors in 2021. He has been with the team for 4 seasons, though he slipped back into a reserve role last season. Kuminga averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2.2 assists and 0.8 steals per game last season. He appeared in 47 games, making 10 starts and averaging 24.3 minutes per game. Kuminga increased his three-point shot attempts from 2.2 per game the previous season to 3.2 per game last season, which likely contributed to his field goal percentage dropping to a career-low 45.4. Kuminga had less of a role on the team once they acquired Jimmy Butler. "We would love to have him back," Buddy Hield said of Kuminga during an interview Sunday at the NBA Summer League. "He's a specialty talent, and I hope that he stays and hope that we can go on this run together." If Kuminga indeed returns to the Warriors, it sounds like his teammates will be pretty happy about it. Warriors untouchables in a potential LeBron James trade may shock fans. Golden State would likely give up anyone not named Draymond or Steph. The Golden State Warriors have been down this road before. A star becomes available, rumors start swirling, and before long, Golden State finds itself at the center of a conversation about chasing one more title. This time, that conversation concerns LeBron James potentially joining the Warriors. And if Golden State were to make that kind of crazy move, it's likely they would be willing to give up any players not named Stephen Curry or Draymond Green. LeBron's partnership with Luka Doncic in Los Angeles never looked sustainable long-term, and the Lakers appear to be shifting toward the future whether they admit it or not. If they eventually decide to move on, the Warriors are one of the few teams that could make a serious play for James. For them to do that, it makes sense that only Curry and Green would be the untouchables. Not the younger guys like Brandon Podziemski or Moses Moody. And not even Jimmy Butler, who just arrived in February in what was supposed to be the team's final push to re-enter title contention. Curry and Green would likely be GSW's only untouchables. It's a lot to process, especially since Butler gave the team an edge it had been missing since the championship core started to fade. But he is also the one piece whose contract makes any LeBron deal possible. And if the Warriors decide they would rather roll with LeBron instead of Butler, that move could happen in a heartbeat. There is no longer a question about loyalty to the original core either. Klay Thompson is gone, and Golden State is well past the days of prioritizing sentiment over strategy. This is about giving Steph one more legitimate shot, and the front office knows what that looks like. They have pulled this off before. The idea of pairing Steph and LeBron on the same team has been floated as a possibility for many years now. It's always been the kind of wild idea that gets the fanbases of both teams riled up. And if the Warriors find themselves in position to make it happen, there is no reason to think they will let role players or long-term development stand in the way. Because at the end of the day, this is about the present. For better or for worse, Golden State knows that their best bet is go all in before the title window finally shuts, if it's not already closed. And if LeBron James is available, they're probably going to go for it. Kings have unrealistic chance to land Warriors young forward due to key reason. Next season is going to be interesting for the Sacramento Kings. they continue to push into mediocrity. The roster, simply put, isn't good enough and not particularly close either to contend for an NBA title. The addition of Dennis Schroeder doesn't put the Kings over the edge, and their core of Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis isn't a threat in a loaded Western Conference. Even worse, the Kings don't have a young player with star potential to pivot to build around. Sacramento has been rumored to be in the running to acquire Jonathan Kuminga in free agency, though. They've been heavily linked to the 22-year-old forward, though he's a restricted free agent. Golden State Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga dribbles the ball during his team's playoff game against the Minnesota Timberwolves at Target Center on May 8, 2025. Jesse Johnson images the Golden State Warriors can match any offer sheet Kuminga signs. They can also decide to sign and trade him, which is the Kings' only likely path to landing the G League Ignite product. However, despite there being an avenue for Sacramento to land what would be a young building block, the Kings have one major wrinkle in the way. After signing Schroeder, they can't offer Kuminga what he's aiming to be paid. Why Kings have unrealistic chance to land Kuminga. Furthermore, they don't have the ability to offload the salary needed to make room for Kuminga, according to a recent report from ClutchPoint's Brett Siegel. The Sacramento Kings, who have made it known around the league that they are interested in the young forward, were never close to finalizing a sign-and-trade with Golden State, sources said. After finalizing a sign-and-trade with the Detroit Pistons for Dennis Schroeder, the Kings are just below $10 million from their first apron hard cap, Siegel reports. If they were to make a serious push for Kuminga at this stage of the offseason, Sacramento would need to find a way to move either DeMar DeRozan or Malik Monk to open space for a big contract. Nobody believes this is a real path that will develop during Summer League. More than likely, Kuminga will return to the Warriors. The Kings will struggle to move away from DeRozan and have already struggled to deal Monk in a trade. Golden State doesn't have a need for either of those players, meaning it will have to be a more intricate deal for Sacramento in this hypothetical, making the scenario even more unlikely. The Kings would be smart to land Kuminga, though. He could be the reason the team opts for a much-needed rebuild and roster reset. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen, though. Zach Lowe says the quiet part out loud about the Warriors' future. It's time to call time of death on the two timelines. As much as Joe Lacob, Bob Fitzgerald, and the Golden State Warriors don't want to admit it, this is the truth: the two timelines approach has failed. Zach Lowe of The Ringer was bold enough to say it with his chest. The Warriors once had the chance to do what many franchises dream of and few actually pull off: execute a handoff from one generation to the next. The San Antonio Spurs did just that, in a way. Tim Duncan was a top 5 player in the league for over a decade, leading the team to multiple titles. By the 2014 NBA Finals, Kawhi Leonard, drafted 13 years into Duncan's career, ascended to be the team's best player and win Finals MVP. That is the high the Warriors were chasing in 2020 and 2021. An unexpected gap year with both Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson sidelined long-term due to injury handed the Warriors the number 2 pick in the 2002 NBA draft, and the following year they had the number 14 pick but added the number 7 pick from the D'Angelo Russell trade. That's 3 lottery picks in 2 years for a team still boasting a top 5 player in Curry and a top 5 defender in Draymond Green. The Warriors proceeded to win the 2022 NBA championship, the ultimate validation title for Curry and a dynastic feather in the cap of the entire organization. Yet they did so without any of those 3 lottery picks playing key roles. Moses Moody, the lowest drafted of them all, had a minor rotation role. Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman, athletic marvels with superstar ceilings, did nothing. The two timelines has failed. Unfortunately, that is largely what has happened since. The Warriors were mocked after owner Joe Lacob dropped the line 2 timelines when describing what the franchise was attempting to do. Most contending teams take their young talent and draft picks and move them for win-now players. For Lacob to suggest the Warriors could develop a future contender while still maintaining one in the present always sounded too bold to be realistic. The Warriors would need Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody to slot in as support players, then grow in their roles until they were ready to take the step into stardom. squint, and the upside for all three players to do that was present. In reality, all three failed spectacularly. Through some combination of the players' ability, their mindset and the management of the Warriors, none of the three look like someone who will make an all-star game in Golden State. Wiseman was a colossal bust and is on his third team. Kuminga has the highest upside but tried to skip the role player part. His time left on the Warriors could be measured in hours, not years. Moody is underrated as a wing, but the coaching staff doesn't seem to know that, and whatever on-ball upside he had entering the league appears to have vanished. On a recent podcast, Zach Lowe chose the Warriors as one of his WTF teams to discuss their free agency silence and how the Jonathan Kuminga situation is a lose-lose for the organization. They once bragged about pulling off the impossible. Now the two timelines dream is truly dead, as Lowe declared in a brief rant on the future of the Warriors franchise. Lowe told it like it is, the post-Curry future is bleak. And no, that's not a future built around Quentin Post and Stephen Curry, but rather the reality that for however long the baby-fact assassin is still playing at a star level, this franchise has a chance. Once that time ends, be it this season or 3 years from now, the Warriors are heading for a hard collapse. The front office has realized this. Over the last 2 seasons, Mike Dunleavy Jr. has turned the franchise toward a win-now stance. They flipped Wiseman for Gary Payton II, turned Jordan Poole into Chris Paul, and at this past year's trade deadline actually traded a full first-round pick for Jimmy Butler. There have also been plenty of rumors that the Warriors are searching for a big swing, even bigger than Butler. Kevin Durant, Paul George, Lauri Markkanen, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The franchise is going to push in some chips to give Curry as much help as they can before it's over. Will they push in all of them? That remains to be seen. Kevin Looney drops truth bomb on Warriors' departure. After signing a 2-year deal with the Pelicans, former Warriors veteran Kevin Looney keeps it 100 about his departure. Former Golden State Warriors veteran center Kevin Looney's minimal role in 2024-25 ultimately led to his departure. Looney penned a special tribute to Warriors fans in the Players' Tribune after signing a 2-year, $16 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. The 10-year vet revealed his MVP chance at Oracle Arena was his favorite memory. However, Kevin knew by the end of Golden State's playoff run, Game 7 against the Houston Rockets, it was time to move on. Looney opened up about growing frustrated with his role as a third-string center, per Warriors Plus Minus podcast. We're going against Steven Adams. This is what I do. It's like y'all don't trust me, Looney said. They put me in that, at the end of Game 7, while we were out the way at that point. They're not giving me the chance to really let me do what I do. It's like, alright, y'all don't trust me. I thought y'all would trust me. Instead, Looney watched Warriors rookie Quentin Post receive playing time in the playoffs. Was that the final straw? I guess. I wouldn't say that. Quint is my guy, Looney said. But it was anybody but me, it seemed like at this point. For Looney, it seemed like all the signs pointed toward his exit from the team. He didn't want to blame the Warriors rookie. However, it was difficult feeling like the odd man out. They all seemed the same, Looney added. I don't want to put nobody out there. It wasn't one moment. Amid his 10th NBA season, Looney admits feeling like the last guy Warriors head coach Steve Kerr called upon was a role that got stale in 2024-25. You get sick of that at some point, Looney said. When you prove yourself the first 4 or 5 years, at the 10th year it's like, you either trust me or you don't. After playing all 10 seasons with the Warriors, Looney will begin a new chapter with the Pelicans in 2025-26. The moment Kevin Looney will remember from Warriors' tenure. Western Conference Finals against the Mavericks, which was one of his most unforgettable moments from his tenure with the Warriors. He couldn't believe Warriors fans were chanting MVP amid his most memorable performance. Is Steph about to check into the game? What's going on? I definitely didn't think it was for me. Like, seriously, that's the kind of thing I dreamed of as a kid, Looney said. It couldn't be for me. But it was. Looney helped the Warriors erase a 19-point deficit. He had a career-high 21 points on 10 of 14 shooting, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists.